FedEx full, we commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, they don't need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Commanders moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot in the mid, dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Join the damn squad, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the word, so shit is shit. K-Dot.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. And this episode's main feature, Stefon Diggs. Should the Washington Commanders sign Stefon Diggs? That's been a lot of social media chatter right now, so we're going to give you our thoughts on that. The rookies have signed their deals and have been assigned their numbers, so we're going to quickly run through those. Congrats to all of them for signing their first professional contracts. And then we're going to talk about the Commanders roster as a whole, and then Taylor Heinicke, cult hero, legend to some, others just another guy, retired after 11 seasons in the NFL. We're going to go through his retirement announcement and then just a couple of favorite memories we have of him in the Comment Mailbag, as we always do. So before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Share this shit, don't share this shit. I don't give a fuck, man. New Orleans, I gotta tell you, can't go anywhere without somebody offering you booze or drugs. This bitch, right? It was like this town needs to grow the fuck up. Okay, that's what I'm saying. This town needs to grow the fuck up. And the share the shit. I'm eating Tom's. What were we doing?
This isn't your first time in New Orleans, is it?
It is my first time in New Orleans.
I had a feling it was. I remember we were chatting about it, and you were like, oh, New Orleans probably not good for me, but I would love it over there. And it sounds like that's exactly.
I don't love it. I like peace and quiet. You know what? I've become a like 28-year-old white woman influencer. I want the Pacific Northwest. I want to walk. I want to go hiking. That's what I want to do. I want to go hiking. I want kombucha. I don't want Coke and shit. This is your town, not my town, okay?
I think you're leaning into who you actually have been this whole time. So let's go ahead and get into it and begin with the rookies. It
was a bottle of wine in a bathtub last night. This is me trying to find peace.
Okay, well, maybe that's not quite right. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about these rookies who are having a much better life than you and me, respectively, as they signed their first ever pro contracts and their numbers are revealed. So Sonny Styles, that's going to be the big name, of course. He gets the number 52, previously worn by, I want to say, Olamide Zaccheaus, and before that, franchise legend Jamin Davis. Let's hope it goes better than that one. Then Antonio Williams wears number 14. People have already drawn comparisons to Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? David Blau is the offensive coordinator. Amon-Ra St. Brown, also a mid-round pick, wears number 14 in Detroit. That's Antonio Williams' number. Then you have Fat Man Kaytron Allen, number 31, who's going to be in the backfield for us. Before him was Joshua Josephs, who was taken. He's going to be an edge rusher, number 48. Matt Gulbin, as you will see in one of our graphics soon, the only center outside of Nick Allegretti. He is wearing number 66. And then Athan Kaliakmanis comes in at number 16, quarterback who will be presumably third string. We'll go ahead and see what happens unless Sam Hartman just lights it up, which I know one of us is rooting for over here. K-Dot, pretty exciting time. Sonny Styles deal in particular, 4 years, $37.2 million, fully guaranteed. Just a good day, no drama, everything signed, sealed, delivered. We got their numbers finally. Your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. Just getting this out of the way, right? Everybody signed. We ain't got to worry about no holdout bullshit. None that keeps everybody in the media, right? Let's get to work, guys. Let's get to work. Because what they report today, right?
Yeah, rookie minicamp is beginning today. Dan Quinn's going to be speaking and has already spoken by the time this episode's out.
There you go. Beyond that, I would just say outside of Sonny with the 52 and maybe Gulbin with the 66, I just find these numbers to be ugly. I don't know if it's just me. There's a thing where like you can see a number on a player, just a number, and it just don't look right. It's like when I see like a running, I'm still not used to the changes as far as the numbers when it comes to the league and the jerseys and stuff. It's still weird for me. I will say, as far as that things go, having the running back with number 30 some, defensive back with number 40, this is a vast improvement over some things. But some of these numbers are just ugly. 14, I never like seeing 14 or anything. 16, 48, I'm just thinking about Steven Davis, and I'm like, you're not him. And then 31 is an ugly number that gets 31 is like no one chooses 31. 31 is what you get left with. And the thing is that I will admit that 31 does have some good memories around it. Well, that was Rock Cartwright, right?
Yeah.
See, so it's like, yeah, you make the best out of some shitty situation because you know goddamn well who didn't choose his number? Rock Cartwright. Okay, so this is just, it's what you get left with. I'm just saying, some of these numbers are just the ones that get left over. Nobody's favorite number is 14. Nobody's favorite number is 14. No one.
Totally disagree with that. As an Arsenal fan, Thierry Henry is number 14, the legend. It's different.
Yep. Forget it. Yeah, you know what? You can be a fan of 14. You just also means you're a fucking terrorist.
Okay, so the real undercurrent here is Sonny Styles 52. It seems like you're not happy with that.
No, I'm fine with the 52. Like my favorite linebacker number is always going to be 56. I love seeing anybody wearing 56. Anytime I see 52, I just think you're trying to be Ray Lewis. So it's like a little bit of like, okay.
Well, he's a gold jacket guy, according to you, right? So may as well. Patrick Willis as well.
Get a little stabby. No, I'm sure it's like it's
not Patrick Willis though.
I'm just saying it is wild. He has a statue in front of the stadium. Just saying.
All right, you know what? This is getting off the rails. Let's go ahead and talk about the main feature of this episode, which is should we sign one Stefon Diggs, who is a DMV.
You think this topic's going to be more or less on the rails?
Yeah, because we have pretty unique thoughts relative to the fan base on this. So Stefon Diggs, 32-year-old free agent. He was cut after one season with the New England Patriots because they live up to a higher standard as an organization, as we all know. So he's gone. He ends up being found not guilty for assault and strangulation, I want to say. And so then all of a sudden the rumors start swirling. Hey, he's found not guilty and let's sign him because wherever he goes, the quarterback gets enabled, right? With the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen struggling a little bit. Year one with Stefon Diggs, boom, explosion. Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Drake May, rough rookie season, shows some promise. What do? We bring in Stefon Diggs. What happens? Boom, Super Bowl appearance, MVP candidate, finished second in MVP voting. So why not with Jaden Daniels? Once again, 32 years old. He's just coming off a 1,000-yard season and coming off of the ACL. Right, so it's a pretty impressive season after the ACL tear when he had that one-year stint with the Houston Texans. Kaytron, the question is simple. Would you sign Stefon Diggs here?
No. Now, here's the thing. I do still think the dude has talent. I don't dislike him. He's a local cat. I dig his game, okay? I dig Stefon Diggs' game. But this is not the first time that we've talked about this. And the last time that we talked about this, at the beginning of the offseason, or last season, whenever we talked about it, it was last season, right? Yeah, last season before he went to New England. We talked about him coming here.
Yes.
I told you that I had a thought process on it, but I was going to wait until we got off the air to tell you what my thought process is. Do you think it's okay if I say it here now, or is it still too controversial to say?
This is bad podcasting. I think it's too controversial. I wouldn't say
Got it. Understood. I think Stefon Diggs is going to try to fuck Jaden Daniels' mom. And that's why I don't want him here. It's not that he's going to do anything unfair and like nefarious in that way. I'm just saying from a locker room standpoint, look, man, everybody's saying that Minnesota Vikings thing. Everybody knows what Stefon Diggs is up to, okay? I am super glad that the truth or what have you came out as far as the case goes. Once again, I'm rooting for dude. But it doesn't mean that he knows how to keep his dick in his pants. Just saying. And there's a lot of things around here in this particular place, looking back at the history of Ashburn, that I want nothing to do with that. I just want good locker room chemistry, not some controversial bullshit about something happening that's just completely goddamn wild. Because I'll tell you guys, as much as you might think, it's way outlandish to think this. Drama finds a way usually here, and I don't want any part of it, man. I just don't want it.
So for me, let me start by saying on the football field, Stefon Diggs is one of my favorite players. Like, I love watching him play. Yeah. I love his route running. He is a true technician. It's something that we hope Antonio Williams is, because when you hear about Antonio Williams, they're like, he's an elite route runner, might be the best route runner in the class. So for one, I'd like to see Antonio Williams be able to grow in that role, right? And Stefon Diggs being here, I think would take away just a little bit, because there's some similarities in terms of size, in terms of speed, in terms of their route running. So there's a bit of overshadowing there. The other thing is, look, on the field, he's great. Within the locker room, by all accounts, seems to be all right, short of the Minnesota Vikings fun video that they ended up making. But I cannot get past the idea of this cat being at home, right? With maybe those distractions that come with it, and also having a productive season over here, and there not being any distractions. I want as distraction-free a season as possible, right? I want Jaden to be able to grow with his guys. So if you're asking me Diggs or Aiyuk, despite all the stuff with Aiyuk, I'm picking Aiyuk. He's also 4 years younger. I would rather do the prove it deal with him than Stefon Diggs over here because there's immediately an expectation with Stefon Diggs. Ayuk's PR has been so bad that I feel like they're close to no expectations at this point if Aiyuk shows up over here. I'm okay with that. I'm honestly okay with that. So I would prefer that. Diggs, I enjoy watching as a neutral observer. I enjoy rooting for him when he's playing. Outside of that, no, I do not want Stefon Diggs over here. I get Dan Quinn being this guy that everyone loves playing for, that people rally for. Even last season, you didn't see any sign of quit. I can appreciate that and also go, no, thank you over here. I would be excited if we signed him, honestly, from like the instinctual standpoint. But short of that, no, I would rather we go with Brandon Aiyuk or run with what we have or even bring Debo back. So that's where I'm at, K-Dot, despite the production.
No, you don't think about what I'm thinking about.
I've thought about what you've said, and I'm not going to lie. That has rattled in the back of my head since you told me a while ago.
Look, I will say, I know what I said was pretty crude, but in all honesty, like, from my understanding, as far as Diggs in the area, I don't think that will be an issue. It won't be like, God rest his soul, like a Dwayne Haskins sort of situation or anything. We got to worry about the people that are around as far as from a local standpoint. But, and I do actually think, though, a lot of, like, he does have like this certain element about him that I would kind of find interesting in our locker room, honestly. Like, there is a certain element of like all these things that like he could bring to it at the table that I'm like, I'd kick the tires on it, especially if we knew that like Aiyuk, the San Francisco was going to continue on their bullshit and we want another receiver. I'm cool with it. Like, if you told me that my choices were Diggs or no one, I'll take Diggs, right? But my concern for Diggs is always off the field, not necessarily that he's doing anything nefarious. It's just that he's doing things that can, depending on who you are, can kind of fuck some things up. And I'll even say that, like, look, he'd probably still be a New England Patriot if he did do something wrong, considering what it is that these guys are up to up there.
Well, once again, they're at the highest of standards in New
England. Only the finest sex trafficked Asian massage parlors for our guys, you know? It's just they're a shit show. Although I still the Diana Rossini thing is still unfolding. It's fucking nuts.
It's wild.
It's supremely wild. So like once again, and maybe I'm just being stupid and immature, but like I do, you know, I care about intangibles. I care about all the personality stuff. I care about the psychology stuff, and just that element makes me very afraid. It does make me afraid. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, jokes aside, like, yes, it rattled in my mind or whatever. But the real reason is because we've talked about this, K-Dot. Like, we even talked about it with Caleb Williams, right? Like, the idea that Caleb Williams could fall to 2 or we traded up to 1, him being home. We had Chase Young. He was home, right? Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul. He was home, right? And for a lot of these guys, we wish them a nice career away, right? Because we want them to be able to just focus on the game. And Diggs, if he didn't already have a record of just, you need to keep an eye on him at minimum, right? Then, and that's away, right? Now he's back. Like, I just think that's playing with a bit of fire I'm not comfortable with right now, May 8th, 2026, right? Like, I could easily see us signing him and, you know, he ends up being great. New England, I think, was very pleasantly surprised. Fans were, that he was this, you know, excellent player on the field with minimal distraction until around week 13, whenever this news came out or whatever it was. I think it was before the playoffs, actually. But there's always that in the back of your mind, something could come out, right? And so I'd rather just not deal in that business as much as I enjoy watching him play. That's it.
Yeah, I would just tell you that like the pool of talent up there compared to down here, kind of different. I'm just saying, if you don't understand what I'm saying, like in between the lines. Not to mention, I'm sure in Boston, in that area, he probably got a lot of the same things that his Minnesota Vikings teammates said. Don't you dare touch my sister. Like, there's some bunch of that shit that probably went up there for probably some racial reasons. Goddamn Irish sons of bitches. They're racist fucks. Love them. But the talent pool is just different, man. Like, up there, you could just, it's cold. You kind of just like, you know what? I got Cardi. I'm just going to stay home. That's what I'm going to do. But out here, talking about like Howard Homecoming, Stefon, do yourself a favor. Stay the fuck away. Stay away.
I would ask you if you have any final thoughts, but I think we just got those.
No, you want me to move on.
I still would go Aiyuk. I'm still holding out hope that the 49ers are going to eventually release Aiyuk. I'm trying to read more about it to go, well, what if they keep him? Are they able to just not pay him and it's okay? And eventually the story goes away, because that possibility is beginning to exist in my head, right? Go ahead.
I don't know if the story will go away, but it's like, but I've been saying this from the get-go. Like, you've heard me, like, I've been saying, like, I do not think it's a foregone conclusion when Ayuk's going to be here or anything, because I know San Francisco's going to be petty as shit about this, and they are. Like, they're not even hiding it. They don't give a shit. I don't know what the only reason I'm still very much on the Aiyuk thing is the deal that it is, in the sense of value, in the sense of, like, he doesn't have any leverage right now. And I am very curious about that friendship connection aspect when it comes to
That's the thing.
the Jaden Aiyuk piece, right? So, like, if he's going to be on his absolute best behavior and working his ass off because he's in a prove it sort of situation, that to me is a bunch of leverage that just works as far as you're getting the best you possibly can from Brandon Aiyuk. That part of it is something that Stefon Diggs is not going to have. So, like, that, I like, you're not going to get him on a discount. You're not going to get him with the chip on his shoulder that Aiyuk has, if Aiyuk even has that chip at this point, because who knows?
Right. Yeah, a lot to figure out with the Aiyuk still, but here's what I do know, right? That whenever someone has played with Jaden Daniels, they speak glowingly of him years after they've played with him. Right? Brandon Aiyuk has done this. Malik Neighbors still continues to talk about how great Jaden Daniels is. Rachaad White signed a deal that you and I both felt was fake. 1 year, $2 million. Right? Like, it was like, okay, surely he made more than that. Nope, that's it. Like, that is literally it. So I believe that we can get Aiyuk at great value. I do believe that because he doesn't want to let Jaden down and Jaden doesn't want to let him down, that they would elevate each other's game. I think this just happens to be a uniquely awesome situation for us with not too much risk, in my opinion, given the value of the deal. That's
my thing. The risk aspect of it is the most you might is have Jaden uncomfortable for a bit. But beyond that, like, from a financial standpoint, from what it does with the roster, everything else, Aiyuk he's primarily positioned to really, really put you in a really good situation, especially when you look at the Terry McLaurin situation going forward as far as the contract thing. If Aiyuk gets here on a really cheap deal and it works out that, oh shit, he's the dude, you got some flexibility on some things.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking to have. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this roster now as a whole, K-Dot, because we've touched on the wide receiver position a little bit. We're now going to go through the entire roster. Let's quickly run through what we have so far, beginning with our quarterbacks and running backs over here. As you can see, we've got, of course, number 5, Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, Athan Kaliakmanis, who we hope to be the third stringer, drafting him in the 7th round, and Sam Hartman, who's been on the practice squad the past couple of years. Will he do it for a third time or elevate and become that third string player for us? The running backs, it's going to be Bill Krosky-Merritt. It's going to be Fat Man, Kaytron Allen, Jerome Ford, Rachaad White, we had just mentioned, and Jeremy McNichols. Let's go over to that aforementioned wide receiver room where you can see, of course, Terry McLaurin, number 17, still our wide receiver 1. There are hopes for Antonio Williams to be that wide receiver 2. We will see what happens with his rookie year. There's Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Jacoby Jones. De'Ami Brown is back, right? If you haven't seen that vlog of him in LA with the crew, definitely check that out. Traylon Burks, Ja'Cory Brooks, Van Jefferson, and Nick Nash. Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, in case I hadn't mentioned them. Let's go ahead and pivot over here, K-Dot, to the tight ends. Chig Okonkwo, the big signing. He is expected to be tight end 1, a receiving guy, someone that can run after the catch, which does differ from Zach Ertz at the time of his career. We got him. We still have John Bates, who is an excellent run blocker. Ben Sinnott, make or break year for him. What's he going to look like? Is he going to be a tight end full-time? Are we doing a little bit of fullback, H-back? Let's see what happens there. Lawrence Cager and Colson Yankov. The tackles, Andrew Wiley, Laramie Tunsil, Trent Scott, Foster Sorrell, Josh Connerly entering his 2nd year. Tunsil and Connerly are the bookend tackles. Looking at the guards, got Chris Paul, who's back on a 1-year, I want to say $3 million deal. Timothy McKay, Julian Goods-Jones, Sam Cosby, who's going to be the starting right guard, Tyler Cooper, Brandon Coleman, who's that sort of swing guard tackle. He's got some flexibility. Oh, man. Maliasala, Laulu. Nick Allegretti, who's listed as a guard, but he's going to be the starting center as of right now. Matt Gulbin, as we had mentioned over there.
I'm sorry, that's fucking hilarious.
I wasn't. Maliasala Aumave Laulu. I think I did all right with that. But that
you gotta say it like a Haka.
Yeah, just the old, nothing like that coming from a guy named Mammoth. Like, oh man, like that's tough. So before we get to the defense, looking at the state of the offense right now, relative to last season's roster, let's say, how are you feeling about it?
Relative to last year's roster, I mean, kind of the same, I guess. Not like significantly different. Like, if we're looking at the offensive line itself, having Connolly have another year, Coleman having another year, like those things excite me in the sense of like their experience. But then I'd also say that I do miss Tyler Biadasz when looking at this roster right now, right? So like I would definitely take him, or at least if I knew for a fact, I'd take him over anybody that we have right now as far as playing center, right? So like that's a bit of a downgrade, but like who knows? With the experience, maybe you make it up over the long run and everything, and maybe Gulbin ends up being a dude. But just like if I'm looking at what I know for a fact, offensive line I might say is not necessarily better. The wide receiver room, as much as I do like the talent that's there, I like Luke McCaffrey, I like Jalen Lane going into last year, but you look at that list of wide receivers, it might mean that they don't necessarily have faith in those guys when you look at the amount of the guys that they do have. And I tell you right now, I'd take Deebo Samuel over pretty much anyone in that room other than Terry McLaurin. De'Ami Brown, I think my excitement level for him is high enough that maybe I take him over Deebo, but I don't think he's a better player than Deebo Samuel. Just not. So, like, do I feel better about the wide receiver? No. So, then if I'm looking at tight end, yes, Chigakonkwo, definitely upgrade over anybody that we've had last year in the tight end room, especially with them not using Benson in that way and probably him playing fullback. And as far as the running backs, it's all about the Kaytron Allen piece to me. And, like, if that's the case, I do feel better, because I would pick Kaytron Allen over Chris Rodriguez, over Jeremy McNichols, over those guys. And I do think that we need a really good complement to Bill. Because I don't think Bill to me flashed certain signs of things, but I don't necessarily, I'm still on the fence about whether or not he's special. I do think that he can do some things in this league, but I'm not yet there on special when I look at like the tape. So it's just, I do think with some thunder and lightning, maybe we do get something really, really cool in that. And then the quarterback room, I mean, pretty much the same. Maybe I feel less good now than I did going into last year, just because Jaden had better tape the year before than he did.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So overall offense, I'd say I'm still feeling good overall, or decently, like we're still trending in the right direction. There's some things that ebb and flows, but overall, I'd say, yeah, I feel worse about the offense than I do better.
I also, as of right now, and we'll do a deep dive into expectations in a later episode. There's plenty of time to be able to do all this. But as of right now, just looking at the depth chart, I feel worse about it. Now, I feel great with Jaden Daniels, right? And I feel very happy with the Antonio Williams selection as more time has passed, as more content has come out with tape showing how good a route runner he is, what Santana Moss thinks of him, for example. I like that stuff coming out. And when I compare this to the Detroit Lions offense, I can understand the comparison to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not saying he is Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like that's the type of role he can fill. I see that. And we have Terry McLaurin. They have a Jameson Williams, for example, right? Like there are some similarities, but this is a largely unproven similarity. Chigakonkwo's good, but now he's going to be featured a whole lot more. What does that look like versus in Tennessee, when it's just like, we're not really playing for anything, right? We're playing for something here. At least I think so, right? Like, what does that look like? There's Sam Laporta in Detroit, and then Sonic and Knuckles, Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, way better, right? Than Fat Man Kaytron Allen and Bill Krosky-Merritt, right? With Rashad White as the third down back, presumably, right? Or maybe the lead back. Like, so in terms of the running back room, in terms of the tight ends, like, you know, the receivers, like, Detroit's better. We just have who I feel is a superstar quarterback. Can he make up for it? Can he stay healthy the whole season? That's what this comes down to. I do like the continuity on the offensive line, with 4/5 of it being back. We just got to see if that center position's okay with Allegretti or Gulbin. If it is, then I really, really like this, actually, because I do think we are leaning into running the ball more. But on paper, no, I feel worse about it relative to last season, Kaytron.
I will say that I don't know why you literally just listed them and you just named them, but I didn't name them. I will say the running back rooms, I'll take it back. I feel a lot better about the running back room now than I did going into last year. Remember, I wasn't inside. Remember when we did, I think, the episode Rio, my prediction was that Jaden Daniels was still going to lead the league in rushing because I didn't really believe in the rushing
the
attack
team
we did
yes.
have, right? And then Bill, yeah, as far as in the team. And then because I didn't trust the running backs and I didn't know Bill enough, right? Rachaad White is a better receiving back than the guys we had. The only thing would be the Austin Eckler piece.
That's the one
I think is forgotten about. So like but like if you put a gun in my head and you told me Rachaad White or Austin Eckler for what it is we want offensively, I might lean Rachaad White just in the sense because I think Austin Eckler, because of the injury situation with him and because you're trying to keep him on a pitch count, I don't think he's as effective as he could be because you got to kind of keep that into consideration. Not to mention, you always know with Austin Eckler, the more times you're going to give him to carry, you're going to have to shut him down by the end of the season, as has happened here repeatedly. So that is something to take into consideration, right? So, like, I know I have Eckler, but I'm not going to have Eckler at the full capacity I want him. So I'd say that with the Rachaad White, Kaytron Allen pieces, I do feel better about those two guys going into this season. I did about a lot of the guys going into last season.
I feel better about the overall health perspective or prospects, rather, not perspective, health prospects of our running back room for sure. And you know me from last year. I like Bill. I do really like Bill. Is he going to be able to carry it 20 plus times? No, of course not. But we don't necessarily need him to do that. I think that's where Kaytron Allen, a lot of this is, how does Kaytron Allen look? Right? Like that's the importance
I'm really high on him.
Of this. I like him a lot too. Like I think he's going to be the type of person to help set the tone for the offense, right? Is that how we're going to use him from the jump? Is that how we plan on using him? Is that going to help be the identity of the offense, right? Or is it just once in a while, hey, we need a bruiser, right? I want to see what that looks like first. There's still an unknown with David Blau. I just did it where I pointed to the Lions offense, but that was a Ben Johnson offense. Blau's his own guy. He's got a mix of Cliff in him as well. Like, what does it look like? I think the lack of continuity at OC is also why I feel worse about it, is because I just don't know what it looks like just yet. I have my rose-tinted glasses and thinking, hey, we're going to be more physical. It's going to be great. But, you know, then you play the roster comparison game to the Giants, to the Eagles, to the Cowboys. Like, it's the worst one of in the division. That's also true. So, yeah, no, there's some questions here. And that's why we were talking about Diggs and Aiyuk before this. So, any other thoughts on the offense? Yeah, go ahead.
Just back to the Kaytron Allen piece. Do you feel higher on Kaytron Allen coming out of college, or do you feel higher or lower on Kaytron than you did Bill coming out of college?
So Bill, when I was watching him run, I was pleasantly surprised with his vision and burst. But I'm higher on Kaytron.
Agreed.
If that makes sense. So like,
no, I'm with you.
Bill is the more exciting back to watch run, you know, in terms of like, oh, okay, he can make someone miss. He's good at figuring out where the hole is going to be. That's great. It's a physical sport, and you need that guy to be able to soften up the D-line, to be able to get those hard yards and hold on to the ball. No fumbles in college, right? Like, that's exciting. That's your meat and potatoes, if you will. And then Bill can do his work later on as the game progresses, right? Because Kaytron softened it up for everybody. Like, so I'm higher on Kaytron and do believe in what I can get from him, but I got to see it still. So
that's where I'm at. He's got a higher floor. It's like I can get something that's more consistent, right? So like, and that's what I want. I need that in the running back room. I need a consistent piece in the running back room that I can count on to get me the hard yards when I need to get them. Then you get in that situation where you look for the special guy, but I need the bread, but I need the guy, the meat and potatoes guy, right? And that's what I think Kaytron Allen here is being, and probably the best I've felt about us having a meat and potatoes guy in how many years?
It's been a while. I mean, I feel like maybe Brian Robinson was that guy for some folks, right? But
did we get all the way there with Robinson? I always felt like we were just kind of like,
No, we always had our toes dipped in the water, but never fully committed to like, hey, this is what it's going to be. And also in terms of breaking tackles, Kaytron's going to be better in my opinion. Just from what I've seen of him at Penn State, I think that translates. I think he is a guy that prides himself. You hear him talk, right? He thinks he's a mix of every amazing back ever. Like, I love his confidence. And so I want to see what this looks like in this offense. I hope he ends up earning the starting gig, honestly. And then you have Bill as the change of pace. You have Rachaad White as the third string. And it's not unreasonable in today's day and age, right? Like, Bill was a 7th round pick last year. Kaytron's a 6th. Rachaad White, $2 million deal. Like, it's open. It's wide open for Kaytron to be the starter. Truly.
Yeah, I'm already seeing Kaytron being listed on fantasy football comps and lists as like he's the sleeper pick this season as far as any of the rookies. Like some people are saying he has the highest ceiling fantasy wise of any rookie. And it's understandable because of what it is that we've seen that they don't. Our coaching staff doesn't give a shit, rookie or whatever. If you can play and you can help the team, then you're going to get the time as long as you've proven that you can do it.
And I will also say for Antonio Williams, another little feather in his cap, and this is all based on what we're hearing, right? Is that he is supposed to be an excellent run blocker, which is huge for what we want to be able to do, presumably, or what I hope we're planning on doing. So Antonio Williams, that's another feather in the cap, and that's going to be huge because we need to all be invested in that run game. It protects Jaden. It makes the pass game easier, and you can control the clock, help a defense out. That, Kaytron, if you're cool to move on to the defense, we can show you what we have over there, beginning with the D tackles. Now, Deron Payne is the biggest name over here, along with Javon Kinlaw. Johnny Newton, this is a big year for him, former second rounder, and someone we were surprised fell to the second round when we drafted him. Tim Settle is back with the team as well. And then you see DJ Davidson, who signed for the Giants, Ricky Barber, and Shai Tuttle. Now, let's go ahead and look at the other positions over here with the ends, right? Those edges. We had mentioned, I'm sorry, where did he go? Odafe Owe, thank you. We had mentioned Odafe Owe, Kalavon Chase on. These are the guys that have been brought in. There's Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Joshua Josephs, who's going to be wearing that number 48. Some promise with him. Andre Carter II. And the DNs, Dietrich Wise. Hopefully he's healthy the whole season this time. Charles Omenahu. Then we got DJ Johnson, Drake Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, and TJ Magarayanga. And those are the DNs and edge over there. The linebackers, of course, Sonny Styles, right? The guy that we have high hopes for, pick 7 overall, wearing number 52. Kane Medrano, Jordan McGee, Frankie Louvu, Ali Cajo, Leah Chanel, coming from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Nick Bellore, more of the special teams guy, but a linebacker nonetheless. The safeties, Nick Cross and Will Harris, project to be the starters right now, but there's also Jeremy Reeves knocking on the door, Tyler Owens, and then you got other guys with Quan Martin, of course, and then it's Robert McDaniel, Quantrez Knight, Percy Butler over there. And we conclude with the corners and the specialists. You got Akello Witherspoon, new signing, Amik Robertson, new signing, Trey Amos, and Mike Sanders. Those are your 4 corners right now that you can feel comfortable with. And then there's Trey Hawkins and Carlin Biggers over there, and Darius Rush, if I hadn't mentioned him, sorry. And then the specialist, of course, Tressway, go. Jake Moody, who does have some kicking competition now, and Tyler Ott over there. And so that is the defense along with the special teams. Now, looking at this relative to last season, pretty easy answer over here. How you feeling about it?
Better. Well, better in certain, better. Yeah, overall better. I mean, going into last season, I felt pretty good about the D line, and as far as the linebacker, us not knowing how it is they were going to properly utilize Frankie Louvu, I don't think they quite nailed it this last season. Looking at the D, Trey Amos was like, we didn't know, but like going into this season, I know enough about Trey Amos. As long as he's healthy, I feel great about it. I'm still wondering about Mikey Sanders still. The defensive line, it's all going to be based on health, but from a pure talent standpoint, yeah, we upgraded significantly. And then also looking at the ills that we had last season, as far as some of the speed and stuff, we've addressed that. Would I like to see them get another like studded safety? Yeah, but I love Nick Cross. I really, really do think Nick Cross is a hell of a signing. I do feel better about the linebackers. I feel better about the depth on the defensive line. We have more talent on the defensive line. It's just, it's clear. It's clear as day. It's just a more talented group than we had going into this season than we did last season. The only piece that makes me feel anything, that makes me stop and think about it at all, is but the Bobby Wagner of it all. That's the heart and really the heart and soul of the defense, and he's not going to be there. So, like, who it is that steps up, I have all the faith in the world as far as in Sonny Styles, but he is still unproven. So I knew what I was getting from Bobby Wagner, which is Hall of Fame. Maybe a little slow, but Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The linebackers, this is where I looked at the Minnesota Vikings opening day 53. So defensive coordinator Durante Jones, the assistant to Brian Flores, D coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. So I was like, well, what did that look like? Because my first thought was, hey, corners, we've only got 4, right? That we can feel we can trust, right? Like even the 4th one in Ahkello Witherspoon, you may have questions about considering the contract that he has. Well, the Vikings only kept 4, which was surprising to me. I thought there was like, okay, well, there's 5, maybe 6. No, it was just 4 for them. It was Jeff Okudah, Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, and Dwight McLaughlin. That was it. So like for us, we have Mike Sanders still, we have Trey Amos, we have Amik Robertson, Ahkello Witherspoon. That may be the plan. Right now, Kenny Moore was recently released from the Indianapolis Colts. You got some cap space. Do you explore that? Maybe, right? Like, I think it could be pretty cool. He's a good player. He's a good player. I'd feel a lot better about it. But this may be the plan, right? Going with these 4. The thing I love, absolutely love about this defense now is the depth that I now feel we have, specifically on the line, right? We play in the NFC East where all these guys, especially with the Eagles with Saquon and their offensive line, with the Giants, Harbaugh signing Pat Ricard, what he wants to be able to do, build a bully in the NFC East. It's a direct quote from him, right? And the Dallas Cowboys, who have a flurry of first-round picks on that offensive line. Well, you need to be able to stand up to those guys. I feel like we can come at them in waves now. Right, with Deron Payne, with Javon Kinlaw, with Dietrich Wise setting the edge, with Charles Omenihu helping set the edge, Odafe Owe, Kalavon Chason, hadn't even mentioned them yet, and hopefully Joshua Josephs is someone who we drafted as more of a project, but he's a freak athlete. Like, can he do something, right? Like, I feel a heck of a lot better with our defensive line. And look, I do admittedly still have a couple questions about Sonny Styles, but the more I read about him and the more I see how highly regarded he was from his teammates, right? That Albert Breer thing came out where they said they all looked at Sonny as the guy, as the leader. I feel better and better and better about it. You can't fall, like his measurables are legitimately, we haven't seen it yet, right? Leo Chanel is a guy that plays with violence. Frankie Louvu, I think, can be better utilized now with the D-line depth that we have. So I expect us to be able to bully teams now. And we have a lot of pieces that are very flexible and versatile. So I'm excited for this. Also excited for Nick Cross, and also hand up. That is a guy that is coming home. His track record is fantastic, though. Like, he is one of those guys that has produced at a very high level. And I think with Durante Jones, we'll be able to do exactly what he wants to be able to do. And so I think it's a match made in heaven, almost, Nick Cross and Durante Jones. I feel great about this defense, Kaytron. Great.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go great, but it's, and like, I want to see them be bullies, but I think for the most part, I see some guys that are right there at that cusp, but they could become that next level. I'm just hoping they get to that next level, but they haven't necessarily shown me they're there yet. It feels kind of like that Frankie Louvu coming out of Carolina sort of things. Like, you got some guys that might be on the upswing. Maybe they just need to be highlighted more. Maybe they need a coach to really highlight like what it is they can do and like specialize in it. So like, there is some of it, especially on the defensive line. And then the guy who you named that I should have named outright is Leo Chanel, is somebody I'm really, really excited to see play. But once again, you got all these guys. It's like, all right, where are they going to go? Are they going to be studs, or are they going to be in? At least you got a rotation. At least you do have a healthy rotation. You got at least fresh guys constantly that we don't have to worry about us necessarily getting bullied on the defensive line when either guys they've been out there for entirely too long because we just don't have anybody left because the amount of depth is left being non-existent. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll have the same injury like we had last season. Usually it doesn't happen 2 years in a row like that, but who knows? If we do, we are in a better position than we were last year. But I do also want to say that as we're going through this offseason, the guy that I continuously want to highlight in the sense of the pressure is on motherfucker, Johnny Newton. This is the year, buddy. This has to be the year.
Yeah. And not only does it have to be the year, it's set up for it to be the year, right? Because, again, the interior of the line is strong along with the edges, so he should get one-on-ones, right? Like, you do have Deron Payne in there, you do have Javon Kinlaw in there, and as the game progresses, with the edges being Owe and Chason, right? Like, you should be, and Wise, I didn't even mention Dorrance Armstrong, right? Like, these guys should be able to hold their own and demand a little more attention. Johnny, you are best at going one-on-one with interior lines rushing the passer. I think we are really well set up with the linebackers to stop the run, right? Like if the Eagles O-line is pushing us a little bit, which can happen. They are very talented, right? You still have Sonny Styles and Leo Chanel at the second level. This is the most athletic room you'll find from any linebacking room in the NFL, right? This will set up third and long, right? This will set up even a second and long, at minimum, a second and long. So this gives you the opportunity, Johnny, to be able to make those plays. And you have to, because you are going to be entering the final year of your deal, and the team's going to have to make a decision. This is where you make the money. So yeah, a huge year for him. One other guy I'm interested in that we haven't touched on yet, Kane Medrano, who's also a really good athlete. There were high hopes for him. He didn't play a whole lot last season, but does Durante Jones find some value in him, especially with how many linebackers they ended up keeping last season, about 8 or 9, right? Like I do think that he could be a guy that leaps this coming season with his size, with his wingspan, his ability. Is he sort of a discount Andrew Van Ginkel, if you will? He could play on the line for a moment and block a screen. You know, like that's what I'm thinking about with Kane Medrano. I think his versatility may be highlighted quite a bit. So just final thought from me over there, Kaytron.
No, can't deny it. I mean, like, and this is the thing is like they showed flat. Remember last year, going to last season, they tried to get bigger on the defensive line so they didn't get bullied like they did the year before in the sense of getting gashed on. And there were some moments that it looked pretty good. It's just injuries. They couldn't hold up. Because I mean, yeah, you look at like I'm looking at the rushing yard results. By the end of the year, 30th in the league, so not great. But you can start seeing like there were some moments like at certain points in the season, it was like, okay, maybe they have something, but yeah, the injuries just were too much to sustain. I like the size, I like that, but I want to see a defense can get at the fucking quarterback and like execute, like get there and finish the play. We've been so close so many of the goddamn times. It's like, can we finish this? Can we just get after quarterback? And can we have more than one guy at any given point in time being the guy? Dorrance Armstrong like had his moment for it, and then somebody else has their moment. Can we have more than one guy like eating at the same time? Maybe.
I think like I'm still thinking about the first 2 weeks of the season where we had a full complement of healthy guys, right? The Giants couldn't do anything against us. Yeah. Anything. Like every single third and long, I was like, that's going to be a pick. And they were close. Now that's Russell Wilson. That's him starting with a new team all over again, right? I get that. But the very next week, he threw 450 against the Dallas Cowboys, right? So stopping the run was actually okay when everyone was healthy. Then it became the busted coverages plus the injuries. And I think at that point, Joe Witt was like, well, we are going to look like a clown show if we keep giving up these big plays. So let's dedicate more resources back there. Guess what happens? Fewer numbers to dedicate to the run. Run game looks bad. So I think that we do have good guys already for it. And now if people get hurt, we can sustain the injuries. That's the thing. Like now I feel like we can sustain a certain level of injuries. If we get the same level as last season, we're cooked, like any team would be. But I don't anticipate getting the same level as last season. Like I think this is going to look a lot better.
It's usually a pendulum. It swings back and forth for certain teams. It's just for me, I mean, like at the end of the day, when it comes to everyone on the defense that's not the secondary, biggest chief concern going into this year, injuries. Be as healthy as possible, guys. For the secondary, talent. Can you motherfuckers play? Like, can you play or everybody else going to have to make up for your shit? That's where I'm at. Like, you guys got to stay. The secondary is the ones that really got to step it up probably more than any other position group on this team. And that's it consistently all across the board. Trey Amos, I hate the amount of pressure that's kind of on you right now. It's kind of thought about after not even a full rookie season of being the number one guy here on the team. Sanders still, I think everybody's just wondering whether or not he's ever going to be the guy that we know he was capable of being at a certain point, which is why I keep looking at Kenny Moore. I'm like, please make that fucking sign. Please take this fucking sign. I still don't feel great about the secondary. I do not feel great about the secondary from a talent standpoint. The Nick Cross thing is great, but I don't feel good about any of the other safeties in the room at all.
Well, I actually feel good. So this is going to sound a bit strange. I feel good about Quan Martin at this spot because the Vikings led the NFL in blitzing last season. And if Durante's got an inkling of that with the athletes that we have now, right? Like, I do think that it's going to set up opportunities for people that have good instincts on the ball, which Quan, when he did, and Nick Cross as well, right? Like, Mikey does too. Sanders still, like, he had a down year. He still had 4 picks, right? Like, these guys can play with instinct on defense. These are rose tinted glasses, to be fair.
I'm just remembering the picks.
He's a magnet. How about that?
Right.
All goes
you got to be there. You gotta be there.
Bobby got a pick. It went right to him.
Like 2 of the times, it's like he was in the wrong position.
Magnet. It's because he knew. It's because he knew.
Instinct.
Mikey and Quan in particular, I think there is going to be a bit of a reliance on their instincts over here as we blitz more, because the ball needs to come out quicker from the QB, right? Like, can they capitalize on that early? Because I think, looking at the talent of our defense and that secondary and having some questions about it, well, if you blitz, at least they don't have to cover as long, right? You can minimize how long they cover. That's where we go to the athletes and what we have on the D line. I think we do get there, right? So, like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I got rose tinted glasses with this defense. I feel quite high on it.
I mean, the thing that I feel the highest on is I think the linebackers are going to eat. I do think the linebackers are going to get after the quarterback. I think that's going to be a thing you see in this defense. So, like, I think the linebackers are the ones that are going to be looked upon as the stars in this particular defense. Like, I think it's going to be there to highlight them. It's going to be allow them to kind of roam around. And I keep going back to the thing that looked best on the defense. If I'm looking at one thing over the last 2 years, that was like the most reliable thing that I could really get was the Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner option blitz sort of thing. Like, that was, and I would tell you, Leo Chanel and Sonny Styles, honestly, if I'm asking them to, like, really get downhill and go after it, I might pick either one of those over the other 2 guys we had last season. I feel better about that in that sense. So, like, let's see. I'm curious about Jordan McGee a lot on this, because we saw some flashes here and there, but he's got to put it all together. And I feel good about the depth of at least the rotational linebacker. But right now, I mean, just on the high end, you know how I feel about Sonny Styles, and I really do think that we've got a stud there. I just hope the secondary doesn't let us down.
To talk about Jordan McGee a little bit, and just to highlight the 2024 class as a whole, it's year 3. It's a big year for all of you. That includes Jaden, who I'm now diving into some of the numbers from last season, and you know how much I love and adore Jaden. So he's like my man. I just love him, right? Like, just I will defend him till eternity. But he's got to play better. I was diving into some numbers. He's got to play better. So anyway, it's a big year for 2024. Look, and I love him. You know this.
I love him.
Oh, he's got to play better. I was looking at his numbers, and we may do this as an episode, guys, where K-Dot knows I'm diving deep into some analytics right now and some code and stuff like that. But I'm now able to tell which quarterbacks do well when they play against defenses that they're not used to going against versus defenses they are used to going against. He's got to play better. I know that we had the wide receiver injuries and stuff like that, but yeah. Anyway, big year for everybody. Any final thoughts here before we go to Taylor Heinicke?
I'm so glad to hear you say that as far as Jay Nails. I will say something I do notice just in society is, and it's always annoyed me, is like the idea that if you're critical of someone or something, it means you like hate them. And it's like, to me, it's the single greatest thing you could do from a love standpoint is want better for those around you that you care about. And that's what I'm thinking about Jaden Daniels, is that the only reason I'm as critical as I am is that I think he has all the tools right there at his disposal. He's just got to put it together more consistently. And if he does, I'm still with it. Super Bowl next few years, man, it's coming.
Yeah. Hey, we would all love that. That's why we do this in the hopes of winning a Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and talk about another QB who is retiring after 11 seasons in the league. Taylor Heinicke, who released a statement saying that he was retiring. It goes as follows for those that are listening and not watching. For 25 years, I had the pleasure to play this great sport of football. It has taught me a lot, not only about myself, but about life as well. Many ups and downs throughout the years, but the ups outweigh the downs tenfold. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would have been able to live this life. Thank you to all who have supported me in this journey. Thank you all who have believed in me. And thank you to those who gave me the opportunity to live out my childhood dream. Excited for this next chapter of my life, and always go Skins. And that was his statement. And if you think about like how thankful he really should be, he was on the couch, right? When one of our QBs got COVID. I can't even remember. Maybe it was Alex Smith. I can't remember who it was. And we needed to sign the emergency quarterback, right? It was Taylor Heinicke that ended up being the emergency quarterback. And then all of a sudden he's thrust into being the starter of the playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who'd go on to win the Super Bowl. That ended up being the closest game the Bucs played all playoffs. And Heinicke balled out. It was just a joy to watch. It was one of my favorite memories of watching him play. Taylor Heinicke, congrats to him on 11 years. What are a couple of your favorite memories?
It's just overall the way, like outside of 2024, when we go on our run, our unbelievable run to the NFC Championship, Taylor Heinicke is responsible for the most pleasant moments probably in the last decade plus for this team, right? Like if I'm thinking about the times that I had the most fun, it was absolutely during the Taylor Heinicke times, like above anybody else I could think of for a minute, right? Like everybody was kind of like, are they going to put it together? Are they going to be here? And Taylor Heinicke was like, this is just vibes, man. Like you could see it. Like me and you were arguing all the time. Did he have the tools? No, he doesn't. Does he have the intangibles? Out the wazoo until he starts talking about politics and it's like, shut the fuck up, Taylor. But beyond that, him diving for the pylon all the time.
Iconic.
Shit. He's just that dude. This is like, he's so easy to root for because who doesn't love the underdog story? And the dude that's the underdog that like every time that there was the biggest stage possible, he showed out as best as he possibly could. There was just always a cap to how much he could do to make the other guys around him better just because of his limitations physically. But dude, this is one of those dudes where like you just wish he had a little more athleticism. You just wish he had a bigger arm. You just wish he had just a little bit of these things to just put him just a little over because the other shit worked in spades. And he probably would still be our motherfucking quarterback if he had those things, right? But it's like, it's just it's the way it kind of crumbles. It's the way it kind of just ends up. But his mind and his football just know-how and instincts were just on point. And there's like looking at the quarterbacks that we've had outside of the ones like RG3, fuck you, and Jaden, of course. Really, you kind of look at the guys that made us the most excited are probably the dudes that like had a bit of the cultness, like we know they don't have the tools, but we just kind of rooting for them. I look at Colt Brennan's probably my number one of all time, and then Taylor Heinicke's right there.
Yeah, with Heinicke, it is a true underdog story, and oftentimes we were the underdogs. And the way he played with the energy that he had, the electricity, you could always bank on him giving 100 and then some. Right? Like that was the thing we got with Taylor. And I think Terry obviously had a connection with Dwayne Haskins, right? Because of the Ohio State connection. But the first time I felt I saw like demon Terry McLaurin was Taylor would give him a chance every single time. One of your concerns was like, dude, Terry's head may come off at some point because these are floated. But some of Terry's best highlights are, balls that Taylor threw. The catch over Stephon Gilmore, who maybe we still sign him, from the Indianapolis Colts, as clock's running down, Taylor threw that, right? Like there was something that Taylor enabled energy-wise for our team, how much you could see how much they loved him, how much Terry loved him, and for fans, right? When he got hit for the personal foul and we beat the undefeated Eagles on Monday Night Football, and he gets up and just pumps his fist, that's how we all felt, right? There was no shame in like, this is how we're going to win the game. Who gives a fuck? Fuck Philly. Like this, he embodied a lot of the underdog traits that we feel we've had as a franchise recently. So it was really awesome having him be the QB. And if you compare him to a guy like Carson Wentz, who had all the physical tools, but maybe not the same level of like, it's wrong, but like, the same level of excitement and giving it his all and not letting bad moments rattle him. Taylor was that dude. And so just thanks for all the awesome memories we had. We were never going to win a Super Bowl, obviously, with a guy like Taylor. But see, are you around? That was just to bait you. Are you around? Because maybe we do. You went like
no. I mean, I thought Taylor had enough if the running game and everything else was more consistent. And the defense played the way they needed to. To me, it's like I thought that he had enough of the special sauce that he was going to be one of those things where it's like it'd be one of those fun facts 15, 20 years down the road in like the sense of like, who was the quarterback for the 2000 Ravens that no one remembers? Or like Trent Dilfer. Or like or like your Brad Johnson Tampa Bay Super Bowl. Like it's one of those things where it's like clearly the dude was like not as good as the rest of the team, but he made just enough plays when it mattered. And he put the ball the thing with Terry, it was fuck it, Terry's down there somewhere.
And then he invented that basically.
Yeah. But that was the thing is like what we learned from Terry was he's the best ball tracker probably in football, like in the sense of like, yeah, the way he can make the break on the ball and just knowing where it is going to end up or land up and just end up with it. It also kind of spoke to, I love their combo because Terry was sort of the same thing. Not at all the physical specimen that you would probably look at from a receiver standpoint, but the motherfucker got the job done. And I think that was the sort of connection that they had. It was just some special. And Terry was fucking cooking during that period of time. It was just like every once in a while, it was just like, can we make it easier for him? But like, does that mean that you could go on a run? Like if we beat that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, which we were very close to fucking doing, I think sky's the limit. Would I put money on it?
No, that's fine. Okay, cool. I can say it. I lied. I just wanted to see him say it. I think we could have won a Super Bowl with Taylor Heinicke. I just wanted to see if Kaytron would push back, and he did. I got my sound back that I needed.
It would just be one.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a dynasty.
I'm just saying. You saw Nick Foles do something special. Like maybe Taylor is that. Like all of a sudden he makes just enough plays in the right moments in those big games. Again, we played the Bucs the closest that playoff run. It was Taylor Heinicke off the couch that literally almost beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like crazy. Absolutely crazy. So
I love the Nick Foles comp is probably the closest thing. No one thought Nick Foles was better in any capacity than Carson Wentz from a physicality or tool standpoint. But Big Dick Nick had the intangibles. And I think Taylor Heinicke kind of the same thing. Yeah, it was the same thing. And he was just, man, the sneakers, the Heineken, it was a fun time, man.
Yeah. So Taylor Heinicke, congrats on an awesome 11-year career that you absolutely maximized, and depending on what you're doing next, all the best. And so,
just disappear for a minute. Like I don't want to see you as some fucking Fox News I see that coming.
Yeah, I can too. Just chew some Zyn, relax, just watch some football, and just coach. Do that.
The skins thing was completely unnecessary, you fucker.
That's why I was like, depending on what you're doing. Anyway, let's. Any final thoughts here before we move on to the comment mailbag?
Nah, my head hurts so bad.
Well, then this little outro will give you, or intro rather, will give you some space. It's time for the comment mailbag featuring just an unbelievable intro here.
So long.
And now the
Comment mailbag time, you motherfuckers. Dish you divided, beat the brakes off of suckers, pull up and fall in. Spread the word and get your ass in line. OGs and new blood, it's your goddamn time. This is the gospel, ho, and we spit it like scripture. Burgundy and gold got the whole damn picture. Yeah, cancel that wish. And if you're still with ice, we know your mama is a bitch. K-Dot in the myth, we don't miss, we deliver glorious audio art out your motherfucking speakers. District divided, welcome to church. Comment mailbag time now, who's up first?
Who's up first is Verde Boy 13 shout out. I knew that comment mailbag song would change. LOL, of course, going away from Nikki. And so K-Dot, well done on that, by the way. Appreciate your work changing that comment mailbag song.
Thank you. I'm working on a new one.
I'm aware. Jabal BB Shaw Bonwe going, greetings. When is the schedule coming out? Looks like a very good draft. Very happy with the quarterback pick. JD needs a good backup. When is the schedule coming out? Supposedly next week. So our next episode, hopefully, fingers crossed, because it would be great, is a look at the schedule and then our way too early prediction for the 2026 season. So that's what it's supposed to be. Otherwise, it would be the week after, no later than the week after. But that's that. K-Dot, the quarterback pick in the 7th round, Athan Kaliakmanis, how do you feel about it?
I still scratch my head about it. It doesn't compute or doesn't fit. He doesn't look like or play like the other guys on the roster. And if it's a situation where he's more indicative of what Blau wants, and I'm kind of curious about Marcus Mariota in the sense of I like Mariota a ton, but Mariota was like one of the reasons he thrived as well as he did was this particular type of system and the way that they were utilizing him as far as like the options and stuff like that. So maybe it's just vibes. Like they appreciate what Mariota can do, but I really do think that the system had a lot to do with it. And if you I don't know. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm kind of curious about. But I can completely understand that them looking at Sam Hartman and saying, practice squad vibes guy, but we don't want to see you play anymore. I've seen enough from Sam Hartman that I can understand if someone said I don't want to see him play anymore.
Well, Rennell Winchester is going to echo your head scratching just a little bit by saying, I too was surprised about the quarterback pickup in the last round. Then I found out about all the undrafted free agents, and I was like, oh my goodness, that was an okay pick too. What do you think of all the undrafted free agent picks? I think you just touched over them. So before we get to the undrafted free agents, and I'll read their names as well for folks in case you're unaware, wanted to touch on the Kaliakmanis pick. First off, they seemed intent on doing this. They used a top 30 visit on him, right? And I remember everyone was like, wait, what? Why? Rutgers, what are we doing here? Like, why is this happening? And then you could hear how high everybody was on him in the building. You're like, okay, now seriously, what the hell's going on? We're not actually going to use a pick on this guy. And then we use the pick on the guy. I think that he does represent what we want to be able to do moving forward, because David Blau is going, okay, I'm not about to trust a 7th round pick to be the backup in case Jaden goes down. I'm not suddenly throwing him in an NFL game. That's why Marcus is back. There's some continuity. Marcus has been there, done that with all sorts of systems. He will do that for one more year. And then the plan is Athan, after having an entire year of being the third stringer, is competent enough to be the backup to Jaden. I do believe that is the long-term idea over here, which is why I was looking at what he did at Rutgers, for example, in Minnesota. I was like, what sort of offenses has he run? Because I think if you're going to take a QB, it's not going to be somebody totally random. It's probably going to be somebody who can align with what you want in your system. I think Athan represents that. He's younger. He's going to be cheaper. You can invest that backup QB money elsewhere, which is quite a bit these days. So that's what I think of that. On to the undrafted free agents. I'm going to read them just sort of randomly, but I'll give you their position as well. The wide receivers are Jaden Bradley and Chris Hilton Jr. Then you got a tight end in Quentin Moore and a running back in Robert Henry Jr. Then you have Jeffrey Imba, who's going to be a D tackle. You got Fred Davis the second. I do not believe relation to other Fred Davis. And then Malik Spencer. Those are corner and safety, respectively, along with Drew Stevens, who is going to be a kicker, right? So, like, is he the guy that takes Jake Moody's spot? Maybe. So those are the undrafted free agents. K-Dot, do you have any thoughts on them? I do have one on one of them.
I liked Quentin Moore. But that tight end room, I don't know what the fuck they're doing there right now. And but the guy I'm most excited about is Drew Stevens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair. So I've got two thoughts on two of them. Drew Stevens, I am also most excited about because you need someone that can kick. Jake Moody does have some pedigree in terms of his draft status, but short of that, like, there have been some sketchy moments. I think when he kicked with us, it was pretty good though, but it's not enough of a sample size that you're like, oh, Jake Moody, like, he's clearly going to be the guy. So yeah, there's that. And then who was our kicker last season? I'm already blanking on his...
more than one, because we start off with McManus and he goes away.
That was 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Last year he was on the Packers.
Nah, because then we end up with Austin Seibert, and remember, because that was like and then Zane Gonzalez and all that.
Then I
sure
don't
that was
know.
2 years ago. We gave out. Now I gotta look it up.
I'm going to do the same thing because actually I do have the actual. I have the 2025 team actually pulled up right here.
I just remember being really mad. I was like, why did we give this guy? God, this has to be so frustrating for people watching right now. Of like, why?
Matt Gay yelling.
Matt Gay.
Oh yeah,
we gave Matt Gay the highest guaranteed money for a 1-year deal ever, and it was like, why? Based on what? He's kicked in a dome as well, and his numbers are not spectacular, and it just failed spectacularly. Like, I'm just glad we haven't done any shit like that this time. Like, that's huge. So Drew Stevens, excited for you because it's low risk, high reward with him. The other guy I'm excited about is Chris Hilton Jr., not just because of his connection to Jaden Daniels with the LSU thing. Like, one, he's a larger body, so he's intriguing from that perspective, something that we don't necessarily have in the wide receiver room. And two, he has a willingness to work out a corner, right? So, like, he is clearly just trying to make it into the league however he can. And I like that willingness. I anticipate that he ends up having a nice camp because of it. I think the mindset is correct with him. And I like the connection with Jaden and LSU. So, like, I'm excited about him and curious to see what he does come camp.
I'm curious, and I'm also wondering if there's even enough. Some of these positions are really, really bloated, and I don't know if there's going to be enough opportunity or time for them to really showcase themselves at this point. Like, I'm starting to get to a point where it's like, we have enough guys. Can we stop?
Well, I mean, corner's not bloated, right? So if Chris Hilton,
corner's not bloated. I'm specifically talking about tight end and wide receiver, probably more than any other thing. Those two rooms right now.
Yeah, but those are dart throws at wide receiver. You know that. Like, I don't think that I don't be high on it.
No, I disagree, because there are some guys that actually think in the wide receiver room, they're like, I think you've shown enough in the league that I want you on the team regardless of whatever the fuck your camp looks like. De'Ami Brown is one of those guys.
Oh, sure. I don't think that's a dart
throw. Here. But when we start getting into some, like, what the draft capital they use to go get them, some of the guys that might have been a name somewhere else, but then things have kind of trailed off. Traylon Burks is someone I don't think anyone doesn't want to see play with this team for the entirety of next season, just because of the certain things that we saw, right? But like, you look at like a Van Jefferson should make a team, I think. But right now he's definitely like one of those up in the air thing. So the idea of having like the dart throw guy there, like, all right, name the guys that aren't dart throws to you.
Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams, De'Ami Brown. That's it.
Yeah. See, wow.
Because when we went as hard as we did for Alec Pierce, right? We reportedly offered him 4 years, 120, or maybe a bit north of that. And he signed whatever deal he did with the Colts already. So we didn't even get the chance to offer that to him fully. That turned Luke McCaffrey into a dart throw. That turned Jalen Lane that's harsh on Jalen Lane because it's only been 1 year, into a dart throw. And then the other guys are Traylon Burks, who I like. Everyone loved the catch. Who didn't love the catch against Denver, right? But like, you just don't know yet. And then there's Ja'Cory Brooks, Jacoby Jones, Van Jefferson, Nick Nash, like, and these other guys. I view them as they pivoted to dart throws, like Luke in particular. So it changed.
Yeah, Luke and Lane are not dart throws to me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And I would love for them to both do well because we have invested draft capital in them. You know, as many guys as we've drafted, I want them all to succeed. We go over to Rennell Winchester again, who goes, Frankie Louvu is 235, 236 pounds, and Bobby Wagner is 241, 242 pounds. I do not see why Sonny Styles needs to add more pounds than them. So, and I had made this comment. The reason, first off, he's 6'5". Those guys are not 6'5", right? So, like, he is, to me, lean right now. So forget what the actual pounds show. Just seeing his build, he's lean. I think he can put on muscle and still be lean. That's my point, right? Like, he can still be lean. He can still be fast. I think he can even get faster by building the frame just a little bit more. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not looking at, like, I don't think he should be. Frankie's 235, 236, Bobby Wagner 241, 242. I think Sonny Styles, was he at right now? 245. Is that right?
I'm pulling up his.
Thanks. I should have had this ahead of time. I apologize, Rennell.
Sorry. Let's see. 6'5", 243.
243. I think he can safely get to like 250. Right? 7 pounds. Right? I think he can safely get to 250 and still be as fast, if not faster, and also be able to arrive more violently as he continues to learn the position, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he needs to be the same weight as these guys, or he needs to be 300 pounds as we so clearly talked about last week. It's another, 7 to 10 pounds. I'm feeling great about him. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm of the idea that I think you can chalk it up to just the way people develop and the way the body is developed. That he's going to put on another 10 pounds roughly over the course of the next few years. Like, I'd probably put it around there depending on what he does. But I think it has more to do with what are they using him and how are they utilizing him. So like if he's going to be roaming around as far as like a true middle linebacker and they're going to have him be there like Bobby Wagner was in playing that sort of style, you probably don't want him a whole lot bigger than what he is right now. But like if you're going to have him, because at 243, 6'5", with a few more pounds on him, that means you're going to start playing around a lot of scrimmage a bit more. You're going to start starting to do that kind of stuff. And that's where you get into sort of the excitement level. But I don't think it's necessary that he's going to have to put on any more weight. I just think it's going to be naturally there. But 6'5", 243, what, Ray was 240, 6'1". Fred Warner's 230. Yeah, he's already bigger than any of these.
Bobby's 6 feet. Yeah, so Ray Lewis 6'1", 240. Bobby 6 feet, 242. He's 6'5", right? So like I think he can still put on a little more and still be well within a comfortable range to be as fast as he is, right? Like I think.
I don't know. I just think his body is different than everybody else's. But I just, when we start getting linebackers that are playing like middle linebacker where you're getting like the 250s, 260s, that's a lot. It's a lot.
I know, but he's also 6'5". I mean, so like,
I get what you're saying. It's still a lot. It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. And he's a dense person too. Like that's muscle. Like Bobby's at 243 is 52 years old. Like you start getting, shit ain't the same.
That's also true. That's also true. These are retired weights that we're looking at. That's the best counter I've heard so far. Here's Renell Winchester again, who goes, I was also excited to hear we picked up a tall edge rusher. That's Joshua Joseph, center, Matt Gulbin, and QB in the draft, as well as some undrafted free agent players. I wanted younger, faster, and taller this year. The NFL is getting taller as a whole, and we should be in the front of this growth. For instance, it is getting harder for a shorter wide receiver to get the ball against the taller corners unless they get a lot of separation, which Fat Man seems capable of. The same goes for the line. Now, I assume instead of Fat Man, he means Antonio Williams. But K-Dot, your reaction to the comment?
The two things I wanted more than anything else, and I'm going to look defensively, because offensively, you're not going to have me. I didn't have a lot other than a compliment back, a true compliment back to Bill, and addressing wide receiver, at least just having a second guy that we can really rely on, which in all honesty, the closer we're getting to the season, I'm starting to pivot, and I actually do feel really good about De'Ami Brown, honestly.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm starting to, you were there already, then I'm just like, I think I'm getting to that point where like, if they were to tell me that Aiyuk is not coming here, I don't think I'm panicking as much as I was, because I am starting to feel really good about De'Ami Brown. So that's that part of it. Defensively, I needed communication and speed. Communication and speed. And what I love is that when I look at the tape of Nick Cross, communicative. When I look at Leo Chanel, communicative. When you hear about Sonny Styles, which is one of the big things that I had, which is when like that, the separation between the Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles thing that we kept going. The reason I kept harping on that leadership of the green dot thing is because when you start studying what it is that Ohio State was doing or the way the team felt, that was the guy. So like the guy, the communication guy, the specialist in that sense. And knowing what it is I saw in the All-22, where it's just simple calls and checks between two or three guys that just need to know what each other are doing, and they wouldn't do it. And it's like, what the fuck? Like this is what it's supposed to be. So like the idea that we're getting guys that can do that part of it, that's the most exciting thing to me.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. On the subject of De'Ami Brown, who you had mentioned earlier, I'm high on him. I'm glad he's back. I think that Jaden and De'Ami were getting to a really nice place in their connection together until he left for Jacksonville for more money, and you can't fault him for that. He is now back. Can they pick that up? Certainly would be excited to see him earn a starting role. However, my fear is Terry's a year older. I don't think Terry's going to get hurt because I think now he's going to have the full offseason program, and his record suggests that he won't, right? Short of last season with the holdout. But if De'Ami gets hurt, or if, God forbid, Terry gets hurt, it is so thin, which is why I still want an Aiyuk, for example, because then at least you have some protection in case you have an injury. It's just how thin the room is that worries me right now over there. Renell Winchester with another going, Allen, so Fat Man, is a crushing power back, thumper running back. White is a good receiving running back, both of whom are good pass protectors. Bill is the speedster of the bunch. They all can get yak. I'm glad we got another pick in Sonny Styles instead of Jeremiah Love. We have a fine running back room. Kid, we were talking about the running back room a little bit when we were doing state of the roster. You're feeling pretty good on it, yeah?
I feel higher than I have on our running back room in a few years. I think that the thing that has happened is that, like, I can't stress to you how high I thought of Austin Eckler, but with that came, I never thought he'd be healthy enough or get the rock enough to make the difference that I wanted him to make. So, like, and then I also thought it was probably going to be worse in that regard when they signed Deebo Samuel, because it kind of felt like Swiss Army knife guy. This might be the thing. But with the injuries and the things that happened, we just never really saw it come to fruition the way they wanted to. No, we have guys that I feel good about what it is they do individually, and the effort and the pass blocking are huge as far as, like, you want people to do all those things. You don't want to put somebody on the field and know you're playing at a detriment when it comes to other things. So, like, yeah, I feel better about this running back room than I have in a while. Probably, like, I guess I had faith in the Robinson Gibson thing once, but that became quickly seen that it wasn't going to be what it is I thought it was. So, like, maybe I'm at the same level of excitement right now going in this.
Well, Gibson was supposed to be the Swiss Army knife, and then you look at his measurables and you're like, he does not at all play like his height. You know, you're like, actually, it turns out this guy's huge. But, like, it just
didn't make any sense. I think Gibson was bigger than Robinson.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, but it made no sense. You were just like, wait, what do you mean Gibson's 2 or 3 or whatever? Well, I'm pulling it up right now. Antonio Gibson was quite tall for a running back. Just 6 feet flat. I thought he was taller. Was he not taller?
No, he was 6 feet. He was
still tall for a running back.
He was built.
Yeah, no, he was built. And Brian Robinson, that's right. We were just like, oh, no, Robinson just looks like the bigger guy. That's what it was. It was Robinson.
He played like the bigger guy. But that was the thing. Gibson was supposed to be, he was the wide receiver running back. So,
yes.
like, that was supposed to be the thing. But I always thought that, like, not only did they not play the way that their bodies, like, were designed, the way that their bodies were as far as, like, the style of play conducive to their body style. But I also thought the utilization of them here was weird. And I didn't think that we knew exactly what we were doing with them. And the thunder and lightning piece didn't really exist. I always felt as though they struggled as far as vision. They really did struggle as far as vision. No, I think that these guys that we've seen in the guys on the roster right now, I'm higher on Kaytron Allen coming out of college than I am on any of the guys that we drafted in the last few years.
I'm excited for Kaytron Allen and then Martin Collins because we did not address cornerback. And again, I would point to look no further than the Vikings depth chart last season, right? Because I think a lot of people were like, okay, they'll show some urgency over here with corner. They'll surely take a corner, and then they did not. But the Minnesota Vikings only carried 4 corners. I don't know what we're planning on doing with Quan Martin, right? Like, is he going to end up playing some nickel? I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep risking being very wrong about it. But
I really love him, man.
I think they see something. I do think that they see something or are willing to try it at minimum. He may end up having a nice year. Go ahead, K-Dot.
I was trying to look something up. I was
second round pick.
I was what I was honestly trying to look up, but I'm not logged in, so I ain't gonna fuck with it. I was trying to look up the PFF grades for Minnesota's position groups last year. In the sense of, like, can you get an idea of what it is they were getting, or did they have to make up for some shit?
Well, Byron Murphy was legit.
And that's my right. Like, I thought that was the case. So, like, yeah, defense. James Pierre. Holy shit. He was second ranked in the league. Do you know who that is?
There you go. People are gonna get to know Quan Martin. Get Larry to learn Quan Martin, buddy.
He had a coverage grade of 88.9. Overall defense 86.2, and his name is James Pierre. Byron Murphy, who we said was a dog, was ranked 71st.
Buddy, it gets
Isaiah
worse.
Rodgers 20th.
If you go to his Pro Football Reference page, there's a photo of him in a Commander's uniform.
Well, that's there's that.
His cousin's Lamar Jackson.
Who are we talking about? James Pierre.
James Pierre. Dude, yeah, he wore number 29. I'm looking at it right now. Wore number 29 for the Commanders. Pierre with the Commanders in 2024.
Would you look at that? Well, apparently we got rid of a dog.
Yeah. This is a shame.
I don't know.
Podcasting on our part. We just do the Commanders. Didn't know who J. Pierre was.
Hold on. Literally, I don't know the snap count. So he could be second ranked with 2 snaps. So
okay. So on March 21st, no, 0 snaps. On March 21st, 2024, Pierre signed with the Commanders. On August 27th, he was released by the Commanders as part of final roster cuts. Proceeds to play with the Steelers again for a second stint over there.
He just signed with the Tiger.
Yep. And then the Vikings, March 12, 2026, signed a 2-year, $8.5 million contract with them.
All right.
So he's played
apparently they signed a dog because he's the second ranked corner.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't remember his name on the Vikings depth chart. I remember
PFF is doing is from looking what it is, they've updated the roster. I'm looking at the roster it's right now. I was trying to find last year's roster and then I just saw that, but they're just listing everybody right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
just weird. But yeah, overall, as far as like Byron Murphy, do you think Byron Murphy is more talented than anybody else we got in the secondary?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. It's like, it's one of those things where I'm just looking, I don't feel good about the secondary. I just don't. I like Nick Cross. I like where Trey Amos is going. I love Trey Amos a lot more if he's the second corner, like coming up, compared to just being the guy now. Like everybody in the room's looking at Trey Amos is like, hey man, I know you just got here. I know you haven't had 2 full seasons. You haven't even had a full season. You're a guy. I don't love it. Okay. And especially I specifically don't love it after seeing Sanderson not play that well last year. So it's just, I have too many questions. That's why I'm like, Kenny Moore, sign him. But do something.
I don't necessarily have questions about the. Okay. So I know that I'd said Byron Murphy, I feel is more talented than the guys that we have. And I think that's true, but I don't want it to sound like these guys are talentless. Right. And I know you're not saying that either, just to be clear, like they've got talent. And I do think that last year, a large part of it for me was the coaching and the communication piece of it. Right. Because I've seen Mike Sanders still play well his rookie year. I've seen Trey Amos play well his rookie year last year until he gets hurt, right? Like I've seen these guys play well. Amik Robertson was someone I wanted 2 years ago. I'm glad he's here. So like, I think that there is talent, and now my eyes are on the coaching staff because you've chosen these guys, right? Adam Peters has dedicated the resources, however he's chosen to. By all accounts, seems like he's had a good offseason. I think so. I know you think so, and a lot of Commanders fans think so. So now my eyes are on the coaching staff. How quickly can you teach this stuff? This goes for David Blau as well on the offense. How quickly can you teach and communicate this stuff to the guys that you have available to you?
I'm a little less harsh on that piece when it comes to the secondary. As far as the coaching staff, I do think there's some just talent issues. And the Adam Peters piece that I won't forgive him for when it comes to that is the Marshawn Lattimore was a stupid choice. Not only did you hang your hat on having this dude, we also lost a draft pick.
I still don't necessarily looking back at that. Sorry, we're just sort of off the rails. Comment mailbag today. We're back at it. It's been about 10 days.
Yeah.
The Marshawn Lattimore piece or trade when we made it, right? I think that there was a little bit of pressure from Adam Peters going, dude, we're 7-2. Like we are currently featuring Benjamin St. Juste. And you remember how the fan base felt about him as our CB1, right? I understand taking the swing when we did. I was also on record saying I wouldn't do it, but I understood it, right? Because if Marshawn ended up playing well, are we looking back at it going, man, what a dumb trade? Like, I think we took a swing and we missed. I don't fault him for taking one when we were 7-2. It's not what I would have done because I think it heightened the expectations of the season, which is exactly what we talked about. It was our brand new coaching staff, brand new quarterback. Things are going well. Why add pressure? But we did. And it just didn't work out, unfortunately, with Marshawn. And that happens in the league. I actually don't fault him for that. I got more beef with the Terry McLaurin and Matt Gay stuff of all people. Like, that's where I ran into issues. But not with Marshawn. I think he just swung and missed. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I'm not relitigating whether or not at the moment it was the right or wrong move. I'm just saying the results are the results. You fucked up.
Yes, no, I can't argue with the result.
Yeah, that's right. Because remember, like I was for it at the beginning to a certain degree, and then immediately backtracked after you convinced me otherwise. And then it was like, and then I've been anti-Marshawn Lattimore trade ever since that day, right? So like, yeah. But now just looking at just where is he on the roster? No. Do we have would we have loved to have a second round draft pick? Yeah. So like, if we're just looking at the results being and we're just looking at the results being the results, yeah, that was a fuck up.
Yeah, no, that is fair. Looking at the results, it's hard to argue otherwise.
But that's but the fuck up in the sense of now what it's done to the secondary.
Yes.
That to me is where it's like that's the gaping thing, and I look at as far
little
as
ripple effects. I see.
Yeah, man.
No, that is perfectly said, and I will not argue that. Argue against that. I will argue that. I will not argue against that. Martin Collins goes, our defense is much better than last year, at least on paper. The offense should also be better. Of course, every NFC East team were also improved. Another dogfight this upcoming season. Would you want it any other way? Always fun. I wouldn't mind having the best roster in the NFC East. So would I want it any other way? Yeah, I would. But it is going to be a dogfight again in the NFC East. As a reminder to folks, the Giants have picked up John Harbaugh as their coach, which represents a culture change for them. And you can see from their roster moves, that's exactly what they're attempting to do. The Eagles still remain atop the NFC East in terms of their talent. They pick up Mekhi Lemon at pick 20 overall when people thought he would go 13 to the Rams. You talk about a steal and value over there. They get that. And then the Dallas Cowboys picked up at least my draft darling in Caleb Downs. And George Pickens signed the franchise tag early. I was hoping there'd be some drama there. No drama there. It's going to be a very interesting NFC East this coming season, K-Dot.
Yeah, it's a big... Well, all right. I'm looking at the Eagles is not going to have A.J. Brown on the roster next season. And I
don't know what to believe anymore.
I get it. Now they were the Packers. Now.
They've made a lot of moves to suggest that he will be gone. Yes.
I do think the NFC is about to be a fucking wild show right now. I love everything the Giants did. Love them.
Me too.
I also think the Cowboys are not where they need to be defensively. I like Caleb Downs, but that offense is terrifying. And then I do think that we took a step forward. I really do think that this is going to be a hell of a season in this division.
I think that this is without me thinking about it too long. I think that this is going to be the most competitive division in terms of I could see 12 weeks in, teams beating up on each other, beating up on other teams outside of the division, and they're all in it, right? I could easily see that. Whereas with other divisions like the AFC South, you may not necessarily see that, right? I think with the NFC East, I could make a case for each and every one of these teams winning the division in the regular season. It's going to be interesting.
The NFC West has one weak link in the AFC West. I feel good about the AFC West too. The AFC West is the division in my opinion.
Even with the Raiders, you running it back?
I'm not running anything back, but I do. I am of the idea that the Raiders have had a very good offseason, and they've done actually the right thing for a little while now, and that's impressing me. That's it.
That's fair. Martin Collins also goes, how is it that they always have the hat of a particular team for the draftees at their homes far away from Pittsburgh or wherever? To which Tony, shout out, replies, they probably have all 32 team hats, which is exactly what it is. So what they do is they send draft representatives to various houses, knowing that they're going to be on TV and whatever. And the price of a hat, they'll save the other 31. So they end up giving the hat of the team that drafted them for them so that the cameras are there. They do, correct, Tony, have all 32 hats at those homes.
My favorite thing are the custom jerseys that get done at one side of the draft. That's cool. Interesting. Like the how fast they're able to get the stitching in. Yeah. That to me is the cool thing. But the hat, it's a hat.
What if the guy who does the stitching for whatever reason just was sick that day, couldn't do it? They just have some intern doing. He's freaking out. Like Kaliakmanis, just like a first round pick. He's like, oh my god, he has to suddenly do that.
That's a good bet. Hey, every once in a while, you'll say something that's supposed to be like when you hear like $1 billion enterprise, like they should be above this. Sometimes, yeah, there's just stupidity. You see some dumb shit happen. I love those moments.
That's the best. Martin Collins goes, we crushed it in the draft. Yeah. Wow, AP. Well done. And also Frank Edmonds goes, AP knocked out the NFL draft in 2026. And Tony, shout out Tony OG, goes, because it's all related. Did y'all see Washington finish number 1 in draft capital over expected based on pick expectancy for a player versus where they actually came off the board? Also, 757 is not DMV. If you can't get home on Metro, it's not DMV. That got 4 thumbs up. I can't remember who I was talking about, but I did say they were DMV, but they were from like way out where. I can't remember where, Virginia. K-Dot, your reaction to those comments?
I only want to focus on, and I don't want to focus on the more important part. I think I did put on those slides that we had post draft that the raw, the over expected thing as far as
Relative
the draft capital thing we did,
the draft
that was on there.
Yeah.
But the DMV piece, I will tell you that I don't respect the terminology DMV at all, and I hate when people use it, and I hate that it's become a thing that everybody's just accepted, because I remember it was not the case when I was coming up. So just saying.
And we conclude with Martin Collins over here going, we lost a Sonny and gained a Sonny. Gotta love it. Hail to the Commanders. And that bit of symmetry, because you know me, kid, I believe in the cosmos. I believe in things are meant to be. Sonny Jurgensen passes away, and then we draft Sonny Styles, pick 7 overall. I just thought that was very cool and kind of fitting. I thought it was dope.
I don't know why, but every time I've heard this, it makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
Don't know.
I know you literally just said, I don't know why, but I had to ask why.
I just think it's a weird thing. A weird thing to say.
We're meant to have Sonny. It's always Sonny.
I don't like it. It feels weird. It just feels like it's like when people say that like somebody dies and the same day somebody's born or some shit, and people like
that stuff's real. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I mean, one number is usually outpacing the other. It's just me. I'm just usually it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's just the Sonny thing. I just think it's weird. I just think it's a weird thing. That's it. I don't know.
Have you seen? Do you know who Mesut Ozil is?
No.
Okay, he's a soccer player. Don't worry about it. Good soccer player,
Arsenal.
German soccer player. Yeah, go. Hey, it's getting close. It's getting close.
I just like the content I'm making.
You're making some baller content. But he looks a lot like Enzo Ferrari. And Enzo Ferrari died in August of 1988, and he was born October 1988. And it's just an interesting story. You Google it, Enzo Ferrari and Ozil, just to make it easier. You guys Google that. That's the closest thing I got.
Every once in a while, so in my dating history, I've dated a few people with bipolar disorder and mania. And sometimes they have what they call magical thinking. And I think this might qualify. And if we were in a relationship, I might be a little concerned.
I'll check it out.
Yep. Oh, shit. There we go.
I haven't read it. Actually, my parents let one of my cousins borrow that. This is the show. This is District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. I'm of it. That is K-Dot. And before we sign off here, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
It's just the timing on that is hilarious. New Orleans, weird town. And I'm over this place. And then share this shit, ladies and gentlemen. I can see the Superdome from my from the couch here.
That's cool. Pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
It's an old schoolhouse I'm in.
It looks nice. It does look nice. Well, drink some water, okay? And we'll see you next Friday, 2 p.m. I'm talking to you, K-Dot. The rest of you, I hope you'll be there too. So until then, take it easy, everybody.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.